Hey, what's up? MKBHD here. And if you're looking for the most elaborate possible way to lose your wireless charging, I think we might have found it. This is a custom-backed iPhone 12 Pro with a crazy design by a certain company called Caviar. And we've seen crazy custom Caviar iPhones before, right? They're calling this one Space Odyssey Moon, and the theme here is all about space. So from the unboxing experience you just saw with the lights and the stars to the phone itself. So all this metal you see here is steel and titanium, and it kind of just looks like this illustration of a starry night sky. And something about it being on the flat back of the iPhone 12 with the flat sides and everything, and the exact depth of the camera being taken up by this canvas kind of feels more like an art piece, basically. And as I hold it, there is absolutely added weight here. It's heavier and a little thicker than just the regular iPhone by itself. And the texture at the bottom is significantly raised. So the craters, I guess is what you'd call them, you can feel every single one of them. You can run your finger over it and feel everything. And then in the middle of the bottom, apparently in this little bubble here, is a piece of the moon. Like a real piece of the how do you get a... See, this is... I don't know. That sounds rare, right? I don't know if that's really rare, but Caviar is selling this on their site for $6,940, which is crazy, but I don't know, like a real piece of the... I have no way of verifying or even knowing if that could end up in... You know what? I know who to talk to about this. Yo, Neil. What's up, man?
Marcus, yeah, how you been, man?
I'm doing all right. Thanks for the time on such short notice. I have some questions about some stuff.
I hope I can answer them. So,
okay, so let me just start with, like, because you would know this.
Okay.
How do pieces of the moon end up on Earth?
Yeah, well, there are three ways you can do it. One of them is that you go there, scoop up some material and bring it back. The 6 Apollo missions that landed on the moon all brought back satchels of rocks. Another way are on sample return missions that don't even involve astronauts. You can send a spacecraft to the moon, it'll do some scooping, and then it'll launch back, and then you collect it.
Got it.
The third way, and this way exceeds all other rocks ever brought to Earth from the moon, is from asteroid strikes on the moon itself. So you see what the moon looks like, right? It's completely pockmarked. There's no atmosphere to burn up most of what falls to it. So you have one asteroid striking the surface of the moon with such energy that a shock wave builds in the surrounding regions and it flings rocks into space. And some of those rocks will achieve escape velocity from the moon. They'll just leave the moon entirely. And then they're wandering in space in the Earth-Moon system. Eventually, 100% of those rocks will collide with Earth. Now, the smaller ones will burn up, and you'll see them as like a shooting star at night. And you say, oh, isn't that cool? Well, that could have been moon dust. The larger pieces will survive their trip through the atmosphere and land on the Earth. So, but you do the calculations, there's tons of moon rocks that got here by that method.
Oh, wow, tons. Okay, well, so is there a way to verify that a meteorite you might have is definitely from the moon?
Okay, so I have colleagues who are in the business of verifying whether what you found is a meteorite, an authentic meteorite at all, whether or not it's from the moon. And they have this saying, it's called, most people have meteor wrongs. You see this odd-looking rock because you think that's what meteors look like, and then you bring it in. We used to have a meteorite identification day, and most rocks you think are meteorites are not. So you would do a chemical analysis of it. If it was not otherwise obvious to a meteorite specialist, you can do a chemical analysis. If it's heavy in iron, it's definitely not from the moon's surface, which has barely any metals at all. So there are ways to figure it out, but we only know that because we've been to the moon and we know what that sample looks like, and then we get to compare.
Ah, got it. Okay. There's a reason for all these moon questions. Sorry, I didn't even tell you.
Yeah, I'm wondering, like, wait, what? Are you hankering for some moon dust? What's your thing?
Yeah, so there's this iPhone right here. It's a custom phone.
Okay.
And it's got this art piece on the back, and it's beautiful. It's very space themed. I think you'd like it. But the piece I'm curious about is down here at the bottom. There is a claimed very tiny piece of the moon on the back of this phone, and I'm just trying to figure out if it's possible that that's actually what this is.
Okay, so it's a really tiny piece of the moon. Okay, so the rules are, I'm just saying what the rules, not the reality. The rule is the Apollo astronauts who brought back moon rocks, that is all in the possession of the United States government. Okay, at NASA and the Smithsonian. So technically, you're not supposed to have access to that. All right, but like I said, whatever we brought back from the moon pales compared to the tonnage of rocks that have come from the moon naturally. So you can open up meteorite catalogs, and some of them will be lunar and some will be Martian, and you can buy them. So you could sell, 100,000 iPhones with a microgram of moon dust in it using a pound of moon dust. And that sounds like you can make a lot of money that way. Now I don't value carrying around moon dust. It'd be fun if I had a rock. Yeah, but here's 1 microgram that's embedded in this thing in my iPhone. Maybe it's bragging rights. I don't know. But let me just say it does look cool. What you held up looks kind of cool.
Yeah, to me the question is, number one, could it really be a piece of the moon? Sounds like yes. But then number two is the price. So how much would you actually charge for something like this? This phone, they're charging $6,920 for.
Yeah, so that's, okay, I would expect that. So if you look at the prices of meteorites, you can buy one that's within your budget. It's just depending what size you want to get it at. So I've seen meteorite catalogs. They're around, and they're Arizona. They're companies based in places where. So there's much less Mars dust that's known, and if you find one that has Mars dust on it, I think that'd be kind of a way. I'd rather have it as its own conversation piece, because one day you're going to throw away that iPhone, okay? Because the next iPhone is going to come out, and so it'd be odd to put something so interesting on what is amounted to a disposable item.
And that is what I want to talk about. Sorry, Neil. But see, I don't have the tools to cut this open and determine if it's actually a piece of the moon, but the consensus is you can buy and sell a piece of the moon meteorites for up to about $1,000 a gram. This might as well be a piece of the moon. But at this point, 3 videos in, I'm not even interested in this custom iPhone anymore so much as I'm trying to figure out Caviar. This is actually the 3rd video I've made about a ridiculous Caviar custom iPhone because they decided to reach out and send one to the studio. And I'm not even going to call out any other fellow, YouTube creators, but if you just look through YouTube and search for any other custom or gold or crazy expensive iPhone, YouTube is filled with glorious thumbnails and crazy headlines, and almost all of those videos are about a Caviar iPhone. So if my natural question is, what is the point of this stuff, and why do they keep sending me and other fellow tech YouTubers these Caviar iPhones? The answer is because we'll keep making videos about them. If you send a crazy $100,000 gold iPhone to someone who makes videos about phones for a living, you're probably going to get a video of someone posing with it and a crazy thumbnail, and it's probably just a channel for free marketing again. If you're Caviar, it's kind of a no-brainer, right? You cross your fingers that hopefully they link back to your site, but basically all press is good press, right? So the other question is just, who is actually buying these things? Like, I actually think it's really cool that there are people out there making cool custom art pieces with a piece of the moon. And let's say we give them the benefit of the doubt that it is a real piece of the moon. And I even think it's pretty cool that it's on the back of an iPhone 12 Pro, and it fits perfectly over this rectangular shape, and they thought a lot about this layout. It's impressively well built. Like I said, the flat sides of the iPhone make it look more well integrated than ever. But what's the point of attaching it to a working iPhone and then actually selling it like someone might use this phone? Well, it turns out the more you look into Caviar Global as a company, the more it all starts to make sense. They're a Russian company. They make a lot of luxury tech products, and they thrive. They absolutely thrive on headlines. They're like everything the Escobar company wanted to be. So instead of gluing a gold sticker to the back of a Galaxy Fold, Caviar mostly focuses on heavily customizing iPhones. So they sell an iPhone with a piece of the moon in it, as you can see, sure. They also have a $6,000 iPhone with a piece of Mars in it. They have one with a piece of Mercury. There's a $10,000 iPhone with a piece of the first Apple I computer, and a $120,000 gold on gold iPhone. They also make a $15,000 gold American flag Trump Biden phone, which is even weirder coming from Russia. And their latest edition, which you might have seen headlines on, is an iPhone 12 with a custom back with a piece of Steve Jobs' original turtleneck in the logo of the phone. Okay. And then on their site, instead of a couple of dumb, obviously paid videos on a YouTube channel, they've got a whole page on their site of famous clients, ranging from hockey's Alexander Ovechkin to boxing's Roy Jones Jr. to other Russian politicians and Olympians. Basically all of them with some sort of caption that they received this gift as a gift for their new Russian citizenship or their alignment with Russian politics. And also, super weird, but if you Google, like I did, if you got super into this and you actually look up each of these people, the photo that is on Caviar's site of them like posing with the phone like that is the only photo I can find of each of these people with any Caviar iPhone. Like you can try this yourself. Google Alina Zagitova Caviar. Nothing else comes up, just Caviar's picture. Google Roy Jones Jr. Caviar. There's one article with that same one blurry photo for the whole entire internet. If you Google Alexander Ovechkin Caviar, well, he's a hockey player, and apparently he filled up the Stanley Cup with caviar after he won it and ate out of it, so that came up before any Caviar phone. Now look, unlike the whole Escobar Inc. thing, I don't actually know anyone or have ever seen anyone who's actually tried to buy one of these Caviar phones or accessories or lighters or AirPods or any of the stuff they make. So I'm not here to tell you that it's a scam or anything like that. But what I'm here to tell you is, number one, it's kind of weird to spend thousands of dollars on a brand new phone and it arrives already set up and turned on out the box just for like a wallpaper. The only other people I've seen do that is actually Escobar. And then number two, aside from the precious metals like gold and diamonds, there's no way for me and most regular people to ever verify the authenticity of any of the things they're claiming, whether it's a piece of the moon or a piece of Mars or a piece of Steve Jobs' original turtleneck. And even if it is actually that thing, it's still pretty overpriced. Like if anything here is obvious, it's that people shouldn't be buying this stuff for value. But there are collectors out there, and collectors actually care more about limited editions to preserve low supply than anything else. So everything Caviar makes is always like one of a small number. This one here is one of 19 for pieces of the moon phones. And the only real reason they have for constantly attaching this stuff to new iPhones and pieces of tech, it's a constant free supply of new hype and headlines and YouTube videos. Because if there's one thing we know for sure, it's people are always talking about the newest tech. So if you try to put yourself in Caviar's shoes and you want to make a crazy expensive, super limited edition little art piece and you want free marketing to go with it, you should attach that art piece to the most talked about new tech product of every year, the iPhone, and people will talk about it. So there you go. You know, after this video, Caviar, they'll probably email me again, probably ask for the phone back like usual. I'll send it back. And they'll probably never send another Caviar phone here again. Although, maybe, if they have that same stubbornness that we've seen from companies like Escobar Inc., maybe they do realize, maybe they'll actually think all press is good press, and they'll keep just spamming that send button to as many YouTubers as possible, because it kind of works. Anyway, in the meantime, if you want a custom iPhone, just grab an icon skin. I'll link it below. It's way cheaper. And if you want a piece of the moon, just buy a piece of the moon, I guess. Either way, that's been it. Thanks for watching. Catch you guys in the next one. Peace.